Welcome back again, guys, to another episode of Bar Shifts and Bullshit. I'm your host, Jay Bird, and I'm here with the lovely Lily Lavender. So today we're going to get into a new topic, talking about how to handle rude people. I think everybody in the service industry has had to deal with different customers and different kind of outlooks on different situations, and this is definitely a topic we'd like to discuss with multiple people. So if anybody's got any extra feedback on what they do to deal with rude people and deal with situations that are, not honorable, please give us some feedback with our email. And Lily Lavender's going to let you know what the email is right now.
So it is barshifts and bs@gmail.com. And you spell out the word and. But so I have a couple coworkers who have gone through some very rude experiences just this past month alone with their customers, and you heard one of them last night.
Yeah, we've definitely, and like I said, it's probably the time of year. Everything's getting rushed. People are stressed. There's a lot of people that are having to deal with breakups. We've went in our last episode how things like something in the water. People are on something right now. People are getting angry. And it's touch and go with a lot of people. People are going through breakups, situations. People are broke. It's a rough time of year, guys. So you're going to be dealing with a lot of people and a lot of different points of views and different avenues. So Lily Lavender and I have discussed it at length and are excited to bring you some helpful tips and some information that may help you with your situations. But take it away.
Okay, so I found a couple articles. One of them is how to deal with rude customers, and they've got like a bunch of strategies on how to handle the situation. But like for me, for instance, the one thing I do, because it's my MO, is I'm always nice. I never change from that. I don't stray from that. I'm always nice. Regardless of how they're treating me, I stay calm, cool, collected, and I try to think about what they're going through, and just, what the issue is. You got to ask them what's wrong, what's going on, how can I help you, what can I do to make this situation better for you.
Mm-hmm. So I've had a lot of different experiences with this whole situation with dealing with rude people. For those of you that may or may not know me outside of here, I was not always a bartender. I wasn't always in the service industry, but I've had a lot of years of experience in the trade. I used to work security and I used to bounce. And if you guys know me, I'm a bigger guy, so it does not come as a surprise that I used to do these things. But years and years and years ago, I had a buddy I worked really well with, and I used to follow around a lot because he was notorious for being in the middle of everything. When things happened, he was one of the ones that was always first on scene when fights would break loose, conversations would. But this guy in particular was awesome. He was so funny. I had a blast hanging out with him on a regular basis, and watching him talk himself out of situations floored me. He used to have people nose to nose with him, just screaming at his face, and it was awesome to watch him at work because these people would damn near be spitting in his face, like yelling at him. And before the conversation was over, they were best buddies and laughing and carrying on. And finally, for me, I broke it down to him. I was like, "Listen," I was like, "I don't know how you do this. Shit's funny." Mm-hmm. I was like, "But what are you doing differently? Like, how do you avoid these fights?" And he always told me, he was like, "Listen, if you're wanting to be in a fight, it's going to happen." People that get into fights in this business. Granted, we were security officers back then, and I had been a bouncer, and I've actually held to these rules, and they've helped me out a lot. But my friend used to tell me that it's called verbal judo. Yeah, yes. He was legit. He was like, "Man," he's like, "Don't take anything personally. This guy doesn't know you. He's going to talk all this trash about you. Just remember, at the end of the day, that he doesn't know you. Mm-hmm. You probably won't be friends past this point. But if you can acknowledge what he's saying, let him spit, let him talk all this trash, whatever, let him burn himself out. Because at the same time, when you're fighting, that's what you're doing. You're burning all this energy. All this adrenaline is kicking up. That's testosterone's at a whole new height. Just play around, goof off, and have a good time." Mm-hmm. And he said it was just verbal judo. had this experience not too long ago. A buddy is actually, it was a buddy of mine. We'll say it's a buddy of mine. We went drinking. I was on a date with somebody else, and he was having a good time. He was in town. We were just having a night. We were just hanging out. He got liquored up pretty well, and I've already told you about this whole situation. He got he definitely had one too many, and it got the better of him. And he was going around hassling people throughout the bar and aggravating them. So I had to trail him along and grab him and pull him around. And I'd play around. I'd be like, all right, listen, leave these people alone. They don't want to talk to you. Come on. And people know when I'm playing. And he did too, even though he was drunk. But I was talking to him, and finally his girlfriend showed up, and I was like, all right, we got to get him out of the bar. Let's get him out of the bar. Let's get him home. You're driving, right? And she was like, yeah, I'm driving. And we got halfway through, and he starts talking shit. And I love this guy. Do anything in the world for him. As well as, and that being said, I will make sure that he is safe in this regard. But we're walking out, and he's staggering. He's having his struggles, And he looks at me, and he's like, you're an asshole. I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. Which, in a lot of situations, that would really hurt somebody else's feelings. As close as we were, it would hurt most people's feelings. But I know he's drunk. He's liquored up. I'm not so drunk. This is not fun. And we know each other. But he was like, you're an asshole. And I started laughing. I was like, yeah, I've been called that a time or two. It happens all the time. He's like, yeah. He's like, well, eat shit and die. I started laughing. I told him, I've probably ate shit. I ain't gonna lie. I've had some really bad meals in my heyday, and I will die one day. It's gonna happen. You'll get your wish. He was like, I love you, man. I was like, oh, I love you too, bud. And just de-escalating the situation, always having and his girlfriend was cracking up the whole time. It was just flocking to the idea that I could just handle every insult with stride. But I know him as a person, love him to death, and he does say this stuff sober, so it really doesn't bother me. We are mean to each other on a regular basis. That is my brother in life. So that's just kind of one of those things that we just kind of push through,
So, I mean, we've had another topic that was kind of similar to this, but it was more along the lines of how to handle drunk people or when to cut them off and, things like that. And this is very similar, how to handle rude customers. You follow the same guidelines.
We call it the Patrick Swayze effect.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody that's ever seen the movie Roadhouse, and if you haven't, well, here it comes. So first, the biggest rule in the Patrick Swayze effect is to be nice. If somebody comes up to you square in the face and calls you a cocksucker, be nice. Yeah, don't take it personal. This guy does not know you. This woman does not know you. No. Yeah, it's two nouns put together to make a sentence, and that's all they done.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are random fucking people. You're not going to see them again, more than likely, unless they're regulars, locals, whatnot. But just, you get to know your regulars.
And 9 times out of 10, if they've been shitty towards you in these situations, and they know, and everybody's had a bad night. I've had bad nights where I'm mean to people. You, not so much, but I've seen you had your liquored up points where you say more than you probably should have.
Yes.
I mean, we've all been there. But keep in mind, these people are doing the exact same thing. So if they're having a bad day, you can de-escalate the situation by being nice. Keep a calm, straight face. Don't react to anything they say. Don't let yourself get flustered. This is very, very hard for a lot of people, especially for you young fellers out there. A lot of testosterone blowing around, a lot of angry. But if you can get yourself in a situation where you can keep your nerves under control, calm down, don't say anything, just be nice. Be nice to them.
Yes.
Because 9 times out of 10, they'll either come back next week or a month from then, and then come. And most of them, from my situation, come and apologize profusely about how much of an asshole they were that night, and they didn't mean it, and all that stuff. And you'll get that a lot. I get it now, and it's it'd be 5 or 6 years later. And people will still be apologizing about a drunken night that you've already forgot about. So,
but I mean, with the regulars and the locals, you get to know them. So you're going to experience them getting drunk and being aggressive or being an asshole just in general. So you memorize who these people are so you can tell the next person taking over a shift. Like it happened last night when the new bartender came in for night shift, and I had to explain to him, like, look, you've got somebody sitting right there who had a really shitty night a couple months ago, and everybody knows who he is. So just be careful with him and don't let him drink too much. So just keep that in the back of your head. Like, you need to remember who your people are, who your locals and your regulars are, how they are when they get drunk, how many drinks it takes for them to get drunk, and share it with your next incoming whoever, server, bartender, owner, whatever.
Yeah. Well, Lily and I have went over some different articles that we read that kind of really hit home for us. The difference in understanding that listening and being in the room when these conversations start taking place, how that has benefited you and I both.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've discussed this at length about how we've had people that are just plain shitty. Like, they start out that way, they come out condescending, they're mean and hateful. Usually they're just having a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily somebody's character.
No.
That's not, for a lot of them, that's just out of character for them altogether. So take the time and just accommodate everything and be really nice over a period of time. And if you're grossly nice throughout the whole situation, most of the time they'll break down and they'll be like, listen, I'm sorry I'm being an asshole. Listen, I'm sorry I'm being a dick. I've just been going through some stuff.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, especially if they're liquored up, they'll tell you what's going on in their lives. It's kind of your job as a bartender to listen.
And majority of the time, it needs to be a passive listening style.
Yeah, passive listening. But we do better, you and I do better with active listening.
Yes.
And the difference between active listening and passive listening is when you're actively listening, you're contributing to the conversation. You can either relate to it or you can put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from in the situation.
Yes.
So contribute, offer some advice if you have it. Make sure it's good advice. Really think about what you're saying before you say it. And then don't ever take credit for those ideas.
No. And the key to this is you got to know who you're talking to. If it's a random person, just a tourist or whatever, and you know they're not coming back for like another year. So just remember that you're going to use the passive listening style. They don't need information back from you. Yeah. They just need someone to listen to them. Yeah. Yes.
If they're just venting and listening and saying what's on their mind, whatever, you don't have to offer advice. But if you guys are in an empathetic conversation where you guys are hashing out details and having conversations and it gets in depth, you can offer advice in a way that it's yours. So
make sure it's minimal.
Yes, very, very minimal advice, but be like, I don't know exactly what you're going through, but if I were in this situation, this is how I would. Yeah. I do it all the time. In a lot of conversations, not even when I'm bartending, where I'd be like, listen, I don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, but this is what I think.
Yeah.
I do this all the time. That's like that's like saying the word apologize. I apologize for the inconvenience. I do this all the time. When you apologize, you're not taking responsibility for what is taking place.
No.
Never say I'm sorry. That is a rule. Like, everywhere. Never say I'm sorry. You're taking credit and taking blame for a situation at hand. If you say I apologize, you're not taking blame for the situation. You're acknowledging that there's a situation that is out of your control.
Yes. The key thing here is your choice of words and how you're saying them.
And this is going to sound shitty coming from me especially, but a good glossary, a good understanding of the English language will help you in these circumstances. Yeah. If you have the right words to say, they go on for miles. And just like a picture being worth 1,000 words, so are the words that you say. And be careful, because people will take what you say to heart.
They do.
Yeah, more so than they take their own words to heart.
So here's just a funny little thing that I figured out. So Jaybird here has a different way of dealing with different types of situations from how I handle situations. But this article that I found lists both of us combined. Like, it's all in one article.
So please elaborate.
But we are two separate, different people. So one is to be empathetic. You just mentioned that. That's what I do. I'm like that normally. So I don't have to change that. Whereas you would have to change your way of things to accommodate being empathetic.
Yes.
Number two is listen actively. So I'm not an active listener. I'm passive aggressive. I'm always passive aggressive, but you are active.
Yes.
And then there's,
But
where
I
did
like
it go?
to hear myself talk.
Yes,
Keep
you
that in
do.
mind.
I don't. I hate talking. Repeat what the customer says back to them. No, I think we both do that.
I do it in a weird way. I'll be like, oh snap. If well, let's take a relationship for example. As people have their hurdles, people go through shit all the time. That is just part of life. Unfortunately, nobody's got the perfect life, and even if it was perfect, it'd be boring. So keep that in mind, guys. But if somebody's got something that you can relate to or flip on, here's where being passive and being active is completely different. I relate to a situation and then I give insight from my personal experiences with different things. So somebody tells me this is what's going on in their life, and I'll be like, "Oh man, that's crazy." If I was in that situation, this is how I'd proceed. I'd be like, "Oh, well, she did that to me. I'm kind of done." Like, I'll just keep it simple, and I'm not the one to take, and I'll tell people that I'm not the one to take relationship advice. I've been divorced twice, which granted, like, we don't fight, we don't argue, all that stuff. I have good relationships with both my ex-wives, not great ones, but good ones, like to where we can be nice. But obviously, I'm not, Dr. Phil in this situation. So this is where all these situations kind of come into play. And that's where we're kind of different on that.
Yes, that is. And then there's this other one that stay calm. Now, I'm calm majority of the time. I have seen you in situations where you did not remain calm. Like, your demeanor changes. So you start to seem a little more aggressive as opposed to being calm.
I was young once.
This was just last year. I don't want to hear it.
I was younger last year.
And then there's offer solutions. We both do that. Act quickly. Now, I'm slow to act. That comes with being passive aggressive. I get that. And I'm just nice. So I try to let my niceness win out before acting.
Well, I'm from Cherokee. Like, I'm from Cherokee, and I've had Cherokee wives. like, so I don't know, and some of you guys can relate. Some of you may have not quite figured it out yet. In my experience, women around here love to argue.
Yes.
Love to argue and love to win arguments. So you got to be quick to respond.
Yeah.
Like, you say something, I'm gonna throw something back at you. And I ain't gonna lie, it kind of goes without saying, I love to argue as well.
Yes.
It is one of my favorite things. And Lily and I both have this struggle. We talk about it all the time, and she'll tell me about situations that she's been through, and I'll just be like, this is probably what the reaction you should have. Like, sometimes it's okay to be ghetto. Sometimes it's actually kind of hot if you'll be ghetto. Throw some quips in there. Be mean. I'm not saying this is okay. I'm just saying this is my experiences. Like, don't go up and be you women don't be going and beating your husband. Be like, oh, Jay Bird said it's okay. Don't do that. Or vice versa. If you're men, don't go in there and just start picking fights because you think it's fun. To each their own. But I'm just saying, this is stuff I am bad for doing. So.
And we are not teaching you anything.
We're not.
We are offering our experience up on a silver platter. That's what we're doing.
That being said, don't listen to, like, I say don't listen. Don't do as I say, not as I do. I really take that to heart, because I like to argue in my relationships to anybody that's interested. Just FYI, this is what you're getting. Like, I am condescending. I will give quips, and if this is going to sound shitty the way I'm going to say it. I just don't know how else to say it because my glossary is bad. If I'm smarter than you, especially in these situations, I'm going to hit you with what I'm about to say. And we're just going to go around and around in circles until you see my point. Hi, there's a reason I'm divorced twice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just figured it out. Holy crap.
Come at me like that. Hey, always trying to hurt me.
I think that's the job of a female. Anyways, On to the next one. It says offer a sincere apology, and you've already stated that. You're not. Don't say I. Wait, how?
Offer an apology. Don't say you're sorry. Do not take blame for the situation.
Yes.
Be empathetic. Apologize. The word apologize does not make you take responsibility for somebody's actions.
No.
Literally say, I apologize for the. I do it with a smile too, and people hate. I don't know if people hate it, but I do it all the time. Like I'll say something, I'll let something slip, or they'll tell me like this is going on or whatever, and I'll be like, I apologize for the inconvenience. That's awful. This took way too long. I apologize for the inconvenience. But I'm a notorious flirt. So like it's usually if it's an older, and it's usually, I ain't trying to pick on you guys, but it's usually like an older woman or an extremely young one that's just not getting her way or whatever. This is how I do it. I'll be like, I apologize for the inconvenience. I really do apologize. You look gorgeous today. It's crazy. Stunning. Words cannot express. And like, I either get two reactions. It's like, yeah, okay. And then they play around with me after that. Or it's like, oh, that was cute. Yeah, that's usually my reactions. But if you want to pull it off or you want to try it, I want to see. I would love to hear your feedback.
Actually, it works for me too. So mine works with females because they'll notice that their guy is staring at me or whatever, or is extra nice to me, and I understand. So, and they usually walk in with a resting bitch face. So, I'll talk to them, and I'm just talking to both of them equally. I'm not giving more attention to one.
Word to the wise. This is really, really good advice. If you are a woman server or a woman bartender, split attention equally.
But stare at the female.
Yes, absolutely. To the point where you may sound gay. That'd be okay.
No, but that's usually my response is, I get that your man is staring at me, and that's great, but I'm attracted to females, which is why I'm staring at you.
I mean, you don't have to say all that.
No, it works, because then at the end of the whole thing, it's usually the female who's tipping me and not the male.
Word. Well, and it's funny that you mentioned all this. I saw a meme on Facebook not the other day, and it was a woman's receipt, and it was like, "Don't ever call my husband hun," and got left nothing on the tip. So yes, your women.
Yes.
Because here's what happens if you don't offer a really, really good split attention conversation to your tables or to couples. Women will take over to tip to do this shit.
They will.
Yeah, as much as you would like to think that men do all the tipping, I do tip a lot, and we've been out and I've tipped a lot.
Yeah.
We'll fight over who's going to tip and whatever. We'll do. This is a thing, but if it came to a situation where you're pissed off at the server, well, I mean it's different. It's a completely different situation. If I was in a relationship and they were pissed off at the server for their actions, like they're going to take over the tip.
They will.
No choice.
And a lot of the times you'll see that the female will tip addition to what the male had tipped.
Yeah.
So
yes.
It's a key thing here.
Yeah, tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
So Lily has a really, really good way of really throwing off kilter. People really have a hard time like adjusting to the situations when she flirts. Usually with other women, it's kind of crazy.
Yes, I do. I flirt mainly with women.
Yeah.
I hardly ever flirt with the male unless they're alone. That's a different story.
Heard. I don't know how to contribute to that. Well, to be honest with you, I'll flirt, and if it's a couple, I'll flirt with limitations. I'm really, really careful when dealing with customers, especially if they're older customers. Because in my situations, it's usually like birthdays or anniversaries and all that stuff. Because anniversaries are good windows. I'll reach in couples that have been married for a year, and I'll laugh and I'll be like, "All right, man, starting fresh. Got the threshold. This is where nut crunch time. Congratulations, you made it a full year. Let's see how far we can go."
Oh my God.
And I'll play around. But if you've been there like 30, 10, even 10 years, hell, that's a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I've seen couples make it upwards of 52 years in relationships. So if they acknowledge that kind of thing, it helps. If you get an anniversary where they've made it 50 some years or whatever, and I'll be like, man, my response is completely different. I'll be like, man, that's impressive. That's crazy. I don't know anybody that still does that anymore. I would ask you what your secret is. I was like, but I ain't trying to do this again.
Oh, see, I don't even say that. I'm like, y'all have been together for 36 years. When you get tired of him, I'm right here.
Wow, you would do him dirty like that. That's cutting it. Wow, that's good though. That's good stuff. Like I said, this is stuff that's helped us. You keep that in mind. And
This is why couples have such a great time with me at the bar.
oh yeah, for sure. 'Cause, yeah, all of a sudden people are shunned in the conversation. They have to fight their way. And as a man, I can honestly say I love fighting my way back into one of those situations. So if you tell me my significant other is hotter than me, I know that. I hope. Like in my situation, I hope. Like I'm usually chasing people that are I'm definitely swinging out of my league on a regular basis. Like I always flirt with people that are way, way better looking than me. So if somebody like you were to tell me, oh, she's way, way better looking than you, I'm going to steal her, all this other stuff, and I'll just argue back. Every dude naturally fights back, I think, and likes the competition in the conversation. So all of a sudden you've brought a couple in, what is it, enlightenment? Is that the word I'm looking for? You've brought on a conversation where they get to fight for each other from this gorgeous other woman. So, and it's kind of quick. But if they're extreme introverts, you just know your audience, by the way, because sometimes I can see where that could like take a hard turn. But if
See, that's why I love being a female. Like a lot of people will say that a female has way more advantages because it's a female. Well, I get that, but I never play that with a guy. I always play that with the female.
The trick is not to overplay your hand as a woman. I'm a full supporter in that whole conversation where like women do have advantages in this industry, absolutely. And we'll branch off into a different conversation about people's roles if you're pulling tips and working in a bar with several different people. I actually got a special guest appearance that'll be in for that to kind of put some light on that subject. If you're good at one thing, so naturally women get more tips because of their looks and their personality and all that stuff. It does play a factor. I mean, I'm not hating on the dudes out there. This is just nature. There's nothing you can do to fight that. But I've seen women overplay their hand and get treated like pure shit because of it. So just be careful on how you approach every situation. Mm-hmm. It's a constant for me, from outside looking in, it's a constant fishing game. Yeah. You test the waters a little bit at a time, and then like once you finally start having a good time, it's usually hard to like get into the wrong conversation after that. So yeah. So that's my input from the outside looking in. But I do feel like women do have a substantial
advantage to turning situations around. Yes,
but that being said, men have a better advantage of keeping things light. Yes. Yeah, men have a better opportunity to keep conversations, I don't want to say professional, that's not the right word, less aggressive toward couples and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a dude's not going to look angry at me because I called the old lady hun or sweetie or beautiful, because I'm not stupid and I won't do that. Like I know in my heart I will not get away with that, and I'm not getting a bigger tip.
I mean, everybody says that it's like a Southern thing, and it's honestly everywhere. It's not just a Southern thing. It happens all the way in California.
Well, it's legit. It's hospitality. You're in hospitality. And for the people that don't serve bartending, you're just listening for the fun to see what our point of view is. For the most part, they're not trying to steal your man. They just want a good tip. Yeah. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but we do survive off this. So,
and we don't find people in a bar to go date them. So
right.
For me, maybe not for you, but
I don't date people from a bar. I talk to people in bars. That's completely different. It's not like you're just throwing me under the bus.
Ooh, you're making it super easy today.
Quite clever of you. That's so funny. So funny. Whatever. To the ones I found in bars, I love yous. Love yous a lot. I'm not dissing you guys. I'm just not getting married anytime soon. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah, it's not going to be a serious thing. Just a side thing.
Ouch. I would never say it like that.
No, you don't have to say anything.
I'm not going to either. Dang. Wow.
Is isn't that how this works? Anyways, back to this article. The next topic is to be polite. Kill them with kindness.
FYI, we'll go over dating advice later. But politeness, kill them with kindness. If you're from the South, you know what Southern hospitality is supposed to be like. You're probably already an ace at it. Be polite. Say words that sound intricate. That helps me a lot. Yes. Absolutely. Incredible. If you're flirting, gorgeous, stunning, enchanted. I've got some good pointers for that. but the better the word, the better the reaction. And that goes. And I know that sounds kind of asinine when you're trying to be polite with people, but when you have a better, really well. Now I sound ignorant. When you have really good language skills and you're able to push through these situations a little bit better, when you have the right words to say, that does help me out, especially when being polite.
Yes. There's also etiquette, proper etiquette in different locations.
If you're being polite, you can't be gangster.
No. No thug nasties coming out.
No thug nasties. No, that's what's up. Oh, dang. Hell yeah. You can't do that and be empathetic to situations. No. You really got to pull out the hard stops when you're being polite in a situation. And people laugh at me. People take note and laugh at me all the time, but I bow. Like the old English way. Like I'll put one arm behind my back and I'll lean forward when I'm either dodging you or when you're passing by, or if I can't hear you, I'll do the same thing. I'll put my arm behind my back and I'll bow to listen to what you're trying to say, because I'm deaf in my left anyway.
See, and I'm weird. I curtsy, so I get it.
Yeah. So that does. I don't know how that makes me come off, but I feel like I have a better reaction every time I do it, and I do it with coworkers too. If I'm passing by, I'll bow to acknowledge, and it's just a sign of respect. It's kind of like when you nod your head to somebody to know that they exist. You just don't know what to say. That's the thug nasty way of doing it. Stop doing it. If you're in a professional setting and you're working, bow. Like, it does help. It doesn't mean that they have ownership of you, or it doesn't mean what. I feel like bowing in that situation.
It's making the person submissive. It doesn't.
No, I feel like it's got a bad rap for doing that, though.
Oh, yeah, I get it. So then the next one is thank the customer for voicing their concern to you, and then set a time to follow up with the customer if necessary. Now, we learn to do that in this trade.
Absolutely.
So if you're new, then here you go. This is what you need to learn how to do, and you need to figure out how to do it correctly.
Absolutely. So gonna keep all this stuff in mind, and following up does help. It does help all these situations, and we've discussed this in earlier episodes. Where acknowledging somebody and repeatedly just letting people know that they exist helps your situation. If you dodge and hide, and don't get me wrong, I've done it. I've hid from people just because I don't know what to tell them. If a kitchen's backed up for an hour and this is just new news, it's really, really hard to tell a guest, like, hey, I'm sorry, your food's going to take a while before it gets out here. Is there anything that I can do to accommodate? That's hard to do.
No, it's not. If you've been doing this long enough, you develop little tips and tricks.
No, it's tips, tricks, and thick skin is what it kind of comes down to. But
no.
So. Yeah, absolutely. That's a nerve-wracking thing to tell somebody that their food's going to take forever. But I'm not saying that I don't do it. I have hid, and I've learned from my mistakes. It is a mistake to hide from your guests.
You know where I work, and you know the past places that we've worked together. It's a common thing. You have to grow that backbone and be able to have this conversation with your table, with your customers at the bar top. Like, it doesn't matter. Just go up to them and say, I apologize, but the kitchen just informed me that we are on a 40-minute wait for food, and they have not touched your ticket, and your ticket is like 15 tickets behind.
But just like anything else, the more you do it, the better off you'll be.
Exactly. So practice it. Come back when it's slow, and let your table know that that it's 25 minutes before your food will be up. But at least if you learn how to talk to them and let them know what's always going on, they tip you more.
Well, make sure you go back and check on your guests and stuff after you've placed orders and stuff, because the more time you waste bullshitting with your customers is more time they don't realize they're waiting.
Yeah, and then it also helps see that they need their drinks refilled, because apparently that's a common problem in this industry.
Oh, absolutely. But and we've all had those customers where they just suck it down in 10 seconds, and then you have ones that meander and you don't realize that you haven't filled it up because they're so slow at drinking. We are exactly like this, actually. Now that I said that out loud, if we're out and about and I'm drinking, I get it done. I go for the gold, man. And Lily over here likes to just take her sweet time.
I do. I mean, we had that comment last night by what's his face saying, well, it looks like one wants to drink, but the other one I'm not so sure about.
This is how she gets the better of me. I'll drink mine, and then she'll be like, oh, I don't want that, and then hand me another one, and then hand me hers. And then
Order another one.
Yeah, and then order another one. So for the wily women out here that know this little trick, I see you. All right, I get it. I know what y'all are doing. And for the men out there, they do this. They do this a lot. So keep that in mind when you've already bought 10 drinks and you don't know what happened to them. Yes, you drank them all.
That's right. You drank them all.
Yeah, and I may be the only person that has this problem, but this is my experience, and this is how I come across it. I have not found the solution, by the way. But when I know, I'll let you know.
All right, y'all. So that's the most of our experiences we can give you for how to handle rude customers.
We've got some other people that may follow up with it. Just stay tuned for another episode. And love you guys. Until next time.